Yo, what up, though? It's your boy Street Coder Nate, and today we're going to be talking about the browser object model and how it relates to cookies. You probably heard about cookies often, but what exactly are these cookies? We about to tap in to that lesson to Dizzle. But before, real quick, y'all see my waves coming in? For y'all don't know who Waves is, what Waves is, man. Waves is some fresh stuff that we use in the black community to make our hair. It's for real a hairstyle that we do in the black community. That's why I always got my do-rag on, brushing my hair, because I'm trying to get them to come in. I used to have long hair. Now I cut it, so I'll be brushing like this. Tap in on some black culture for real, get you some waves. You probably can't get you some waves if you ain't black for real. But yeah, that's waves. You ever see somebody with some waves in your head? You ain't got to say it out loud. It's disrespectful. In your head, you be like, oh, his waves busting. Or actually, say your waves busting. You know, that's a compliment to tell somebody their waves is busting. If you're in a different culture and you see somebody with some waves and they deep and they like spinning, say your waves busting. That's a compliment to black people. For real. Or black niggas, I guess. All right, let's tap into the session. History lesson over for today. Now we got another history lesson on JavaScript. Okay, so JavaScript cookies. Cookies let you store user information in web pages. Now, what in the fuck does that really mean? Cookies let you store user information in web pages. Well, you know how they said you're being tracked? Like everybody all over the world be like, you're being tracked, your data is being yada, yada, yada. Well, this is kind of referring to that, like cookies and sessions. So we ain't not talking about sessions today, but we talking about cookies. And well, I guess your cookie will create a new session. So yeah, cookies and sessions. This is how you being tracked, your cookies, right? So cookies are data stored in small text files on your computers. That's what a cookie is. It's data. It's just your data stored on your computer and text files. You could actually go look at your data, but most people don't know where their cookies are stored, so they don't even know where to look at them for. When a web browser or when a web server has sent a web page to a browser, so basically I'm saying give me google.com, and the Google web server is going to send me google.com/index.html, right? So when they send that web page, that index.html web page to my browser, the connection is shut down. So I had to connect to the Google server. My browser had to connect to the Google server, and when it connected to the Google server, it made some like type of connection, and then the data was able, the file was able to be sent back and forth. This is what it's referring to. So the connection is shut down and the server forgets everything about the user. So that's dope. Google's going to forget everything about me when I close down this connection. That's dope. All I need is google.com. I don't need them to keep remembering stuff about me. Well, cookies were invented to solve the problem how to remember information about the user. So now it's like the server is like, okay, I don't know who's connecting to me. Never. Like, you can connect to the server and they don't really need to know who you are. And if you think about a restaurant, the servers talk to so many different people. Now, the way that the server gets to know who you are personally is that you send your cookies to the server. I'm talking about the server that's serving you food in a restaurant. What is your cookies? Your cookies is your name, maybe a little bit about yourself. So now the server, whenever you connect with the server again, and you kind of indirectly sending these cookies every single time, but you're not really, because the server remember it, but maybe the server didn't remember, and you have to keep telling her your name or him your name every single time, right? That's you giving your cookie. Well, basically, the browser, when it connects to google.com, it's going to check to see if I have any cookies. If I have a file for google.com, a cookies file for google.com, if I have a cookies file for google.com, then when I make that request to google.com, that cookies file is also going to be sent to google.com. Now Google can identify me, because it's just not like a random person or a random thing being connected to google.com. But before, if I'm like, let's say incognito, but in an incognito window, if you go to google.com in an incognito window, you have no cookies in your incognito window, so the google.com has no idea who you are, and you just a random person connected to that server. Now, once again, our cookies help us identify ourselves, and they store this information on our web page. So cookies were invented to solve the problem how to remember information about the user. When a user visits a web page, her name can be stored in a cookie. Next time the user visits the web page, the cookie remembers her name. Now, cookies are saved in name value pairs, meaning if you take a look at this example right here, you got what is the name? Well, the name here is username, and what is the value? The value is John Doe. So we got our name value pairs being username and John Doe. Cool. So this is how our cookies are stored. You got the name on the left, and then the value on the right of the equal sign. And that's pretty much it. And so if you opened up a file where your cookies are stored, you would just see a whole bunch of these name value pairs for your cookies. Maybe username, maybe like location in the world, maybe like operating system, stuff like that. These are the things that they're keeping track of in your cookies, and you could go check that out as well. All right, so when a browser requests a web page from a server, cookies belonging to the page are added to the request. This way, the server gets the necessary data to remember information about users. None of the examples below will work if your cookie browser are okay. Cool. So basically, this just said what I said. When you're connecting to a server, if you have data, or if you have cookies for that server that you're connecting to, a server being just a domain, right? A domain name. So google.com, they have their server. So I'm connected to the Google server. If I'm connecting there and I have data in my cookies file for the Google server, which I most likely do because Google be tracking, then that file is going to be sent to the Google server, and then Google can identify, oh, I'm getting a connection, but this connection from Nate, and he out somewhere in Texas, right? And they got way more information. They probably know literally exactly what I'm doing right now. So that's that. So how can we create a cookie, right? How can we, let's say somebody is connected to our stuff, or somebody's using our website, right? And we want to, let's say somebody is using our website, and we want to kind of keep track of some information on the user. Well, how can we do that in ourselves, right? Well, the way that we're going to do that is is first creating a cookie. So we're going to need to learn how to create cookie. And here it says that JavaScript can create, read, and delete cookies with the document.cookie property. So just by using document.cookie, we're able to create, read, and delete. Let's see how. Okay, with JavaScript, a cookie can be created like this. Document.cookie equals, and then you pass in a string with the name value pair, and it's separated by the equal sign, right? Cool. So now we have a cookie that says username, and the username is John Doe. You can add an expiration date as well to your cookie, so that, let's say your cookies don't exist all the time, and therefore, or like, let's say you didn't want your cookie to exist all the time for, let's say, security reasons or something. You could put an expiration date on the cookie, and so let's say after a certain day, let's say, 18 December 2013, after 18 December 2013, the username is no longer going to be John Doe because it has expired, and the user will now need to set a new cookie. But the user don't set the cookie. The user just gotta probably go back to the website and log in, and then that cookie is reset for them. That's typically how things are done here. Okay, but I don't think cookies typically expire. More so, sessions expire. It really depends on the website if you want to expire your cookie or not. Okay. So not only can you put an expiration date, but you can say that this cookie is, I need this cookie to load only when they load the slash route, or when they load the / contact route, load these specific cookies. You can tell the browser where the cookies, which routes that the cookie belongs to. And so the way that you tell it is with the path parameter. And so you can tell the browser what path the cookie belongs to. By default, the cookie belongs to the current page. So let's say I am on the slash, let's say the slash about page, and I set a cookie. Well, that cookie's page, or that cookie's path, is going to be path equals slash about, because it's just not it's going to be default to the current page that the cookie was created on. Now, I can pass in this path variable though and say, although I am on a slash about page, I want this cookie to be for the slash contact page. Only load this cookie for the slash contact page. Dope. Okay, so then we got read a cookie with JavaScript. So not only can we create cookies, but now we can also read those cookies. And so, well, but first let's go back up. This is the line. This is a line for creating one cookie in JavaScript, or creating one entry inside of a cookie file in our JavaScript. So the entry would be that the username is John Doe. It expires Thursday, December 18, 2013 at noon, and that the path is for the home page. That's that cookie. And you will see in the file for cookie file for a specific website that it will just have lines of this, lines of these, and just describing the different data. Cool. So read a cookie with JavaScript. So how can we read a cookie with JavaScript? Well, the way that we read a cookie with JavaScript is that we call on the document.cookie word. So if the document.cookie word is on the left-hand side of the assignment operator, which is right here, that equal sign, if it's on the left-hand side of the assignment operator, well, then we're assigning a value into the cookie. But if it's on the right-hand side of the operator, well, then that means we're extracting values. We're getting values from that, from the cookie, and we're storing it into the variable on the left-hand side. So now we can have access to that data. So document.cookie will return all the cookies in one string like these. So basically it'd be like this: cookie 1 equals value, colon, cookie 2 equals value, colon, cookie 3 equals value, colon. So when I said document.cookie up there, basically X has a string that looks like that. Cool. Okay, so let's say I wanted to update a value for the cookie. Excuse me. Let's say I wanted to update a value for the cookie. All I gotta do is honestly just set the, is just overwrite the old cookie. So basically, if I had a cookie where the name was, if I had a cookie and it had a value username, or it had a key, had a name username, and the value was already John Doe, well, if I wanted to set it equal to John Smith, I would just run this same entry of the cookie like this, and put John Smith, and this will say, oh, there was already a username set for this specific path. So what we're gonna do is just overwrite the username to be John Doe for the slash path, and that's what happens. The old cookie is overwritten. Okay. And so, well, how is delete handled then? Well, delete is kind of handled the same way as updating, in that you don't have to specify a cookie value when you delete a cookie. Just set the expire date to some date in the past, and now the cookie don't exist anymore because it expired, right? And so let's say we wanted to delete the username cookie. Well, we just set username equal to nothing right here, and then we set the expiration date to what? January 1st, 1970 at midnight, and the cookie just won't exist anymore. So we set it equal to January 1st, 1970 at midnight, and then the cookie just doesn't exist anymore because it expired. Cool. All right, so let's take a look at this cookie string. Oh, and also we need to make sure that the path, you should define the path to ensure that you delete the right cookie. Some browsers will not let you delete a cookie if you don't specify the path. And the reason is that because let's say you want to know the path is because you can have a username on another path, and if you don't specify the path, well, what username do you want us to delete? You see, from which path and whatnot. So define a path whenever you want to delete a cookie. Okay, so the cookie string, and also update the cookie for real. All right, so the cookie string, the document.cookie property looks like a normal text string, but it is not. Even if you write a whole cookie string to a document.cookie, when you read it out again, you can only see the name value pair. If you set a new cookie, older cookies are not overwritten. The new cookie is added to the document.cookie so that if you read document.cookie again, you'll read something like cookie 1 value, cookie 2 value. And so right here they have this little example where we can display all our cookies, and when I displayed the cookies, you see that when I displayed the cookies, you see that there's like nothing inside the cookie. Like there's like nothing over there inside the cookies. But all right, there we go. There's nothing inside the cookie. So let me click on the close. And what I can do is create cookie 1. So I just clicked on create cookie 1, and now I click back on display cookies, and this is what popped back up is first name equals John. They set me my first cookie. Let's see if I do create cookie 1 again and display, it still just says first name equals John Doe. So now if I do create cookie 2 and now I do display all cookies, now you see that I have first name equals John Doe and last name equals Smith. So that's displaying all my cookies. And let's say I wanted to delete cookie 1. If I go back to displaying all the cookies, last name equals Smith is the only cookie that's up there now. And then I could delete cookie 2, and all my cookies are deleted. Now, y'all know how to do this in the code because I just showed y'all how to do it in code right above. But they created little buttons for us to show us that you create cookies right on the fly, delete them on the fly, update them, and all of that, and how they work right here when we call it. That's real cool in my eyes. So if you want to find a value of one specified cookie, you must write a JavaScript function that searches for the cookie value in the cookie string. Did that make sense to y'all? Let me move myself off the screen. So you see how we got this, let me go back to create cookie 1, create cookie 2, and display my cookies. Well, when I'm displaying the cookies, you see that they're coming up as a string, and I know it's real small, so I'm sorry, but they're coming up as a string. And that string, now I need to search through that string for the actual cookie value. And so for me to have to search through the string for the cookie value, I would need to create my own little function to parse the string and do all of that. And so in a way, they did that for us. The JavaScript cookie example, they showed us how to, let me show you. In this example, in the example to follow, we will create a cookie that stores the name of a visitor. The first time a visitor arrives to the web page, he or she will be asked to fill in his or her name. The name then will be stored in a cookie. So they're creating a little program that when the user comes to the web page, they ask for the name, and now that name is stored in a cookie. The next time the user visitor arrives at the same page, the visitor will get the welcome message. For the example, we will create 3 different JavaScript functions. So they need to create 3 different JavaScript functions: a function to set the cookie, a function to get the cookie, and a function to check the cookie. So let's take a look at how they're setting this cookie. First, we create a function that stores the name of the visitor in a cookie variable. Another word for store is set. To store something is to set something. Okay, cool. So we need to create a function that will set the name of visitor in a cookie variable. So let's take a look at this function. So we got function set cookie, and the set cookie is going to take in C name, C value, and EX days. C name, I'm going to assume it stands for cookie name. C value stands for cookie value, and EX days stands for expiration days. Okay, so first line, what they do, they create a variable called D, and they set it equal to a new date, and then they set the date thing right here. That's all you need to know is some date stuff being set right here. And then they create the expiration date right here. And so now they want to set the document.cookie, right? And so you need the cookie name equals the cookie value, and then you put the semicolon. So where do we see that at? We saw that right here. Cookie 1 equals cookie value, semicolon. Cool. And then we also need the expiration date and then finish out the expiration date as well with the path. All of this is concatenation. I know I look a little weird, but this is string concatenation. They're taking variables dynamically and creating this string right here based on what the user said was their username. This is really getting like that real interactive JavaScript. Get the username. All right, I got the username. Now I'm about to go store that username in a cookie. That's interactive as fuck. So, but your programs without JavaScript wasn't allow you to do that. Now JavaScript gives us the ability to do that. JavaScript dope. So let's see what's happening here. I already kind of explained the function. You gotta really do that. All right, a function to get the cookie. So we create a function that returns the value of a specified cookie. Now this one's a little longer because you got to search through a string. So we got var cname equals, or we got name equals cname plus equal sign. So the cname is the cookie name, and then we're going to attach the equal sign to it. And then we need to decode our cookie. So we call document.cookie, and we pass it into this decode URI component. Never really looked that up. I just know you gotta do that. So decode URI component, and then now we have our decoded cookie. Yes. Cool. So now that we have our decoded cookie, we're going to create this variable called CA, which I'm assuming stands for cookie array. And the reason I think it's array is because the split method creates an array where the string will be split every time it sees a semicolon. So what does that mean? So let's go back up here, and you see username equals John Smith, and then there's a semicolon, space, all of that information, semicolon right there, and then path. So basically when you do a split and you split at the semicolon, it's going to make this the first, this string will be the first instance in the well, my bad, this string will be placed in the first index of the array that is created after calling dot split, and then this string is placed in the second index, and then this is placed in the third index or position, third position, first position, second position, third position, when we call it dot split. And so that's what happened right here. Is now we have an array, which I'm going to call a cookie array because CA. So we have an array where we have three different values in it. We got the first one is the is the username and whatnot, or is the name and the value. The second one is the date, and then the third one is the third one. So we got the date, and then the third one is the path. Cool. So what we want to do is loop through the array, and in the array we're going to set C equal to the value that we're currently at in the array, and we're going to check to see if we're looking at any blank characters. If we're looking at a blank character, update the current position until we get to a character that's not blank, is what this while loop saying. And then once we update to a character that's not like blank, now we want to check to see that C.index of, so C is that string, and we're saying we're passing in this name. What is name? Well, name refers back to the cookie name with the equal sign. So we're saying if the cookie name with the equal sign is the first, if it's like the first index in this string, and if it is, then we're going to return the substring where we're going to start with name.length and end at c.length. C.length is the actual string. So basically this is just returning the string, and if it can't find the cookie, then it just returns null. This is programming right here. That one, this is if you ain't seen coded before, that's coding. This is logical thinking right here. And that, honestly, this is like ridiculously simple compared to other things that you will be doing on this channel. This is only extracting a name from a string. That's basically what it's doing. It's going through the string and finding where that specific name is. Cool. Now I'm about to go here. Okay, now we got a function to check the cookie. So we create the function that checks a cookie if a cookie is set. And you can do that right here. Okay, so all together, this is what it looks like, and we could try it out. So when I click here, they want to know my name. So enter your name. I'm going to go Nate. Okay, cool. So I just got here. It said enter your name. That's what happened. Cool. That was the first thing that was supposed to happen. When I got to W3 schools, /js/tryit.asp (file name) = tryit_cookie_username. So that's the page that was just loaded. Now, if I go back and I try it again, it should not prompt me for my name anymore. It shouldn't, but it did. Oh wait, nope, it didn't. It said this time, it says welcome Nate. Instead of like enter your name, it didn't give me a place to enter my name. This time it just says welcome Nate. I wish I could really zoom in. Oh, there we go. It says welcome Nate right there. That's dope as hell. So now I'm not being prompted to enter my name. It remembered my name. You see, I closed out that page and then I just opened that page up again. It remembered my name because it stored it in the cookie. Dope. Da 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 da. And then the page still looks how it looks. Cool. So that's pretty much cookies. That was, and I know cookies was a lot, but that's pretty much cookies. How individuals are tracking you, how you can track yourself or track people that come to your website.